Hi, bud.
Jesus Christ. Jump scare. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm just apparently just going to start. Just jumped right in.
Sponsored by Dr. Pepper, but not really.
Not really. Diet Dr. Pepper. Got to make the distinction. I am, as always, sweaty ass Bud Robinson. This with us tonight is Town Robinson. Town, how's it going?
Good, I'm not too sweaty. I feel good.
That's nice. You're lucky.
The air conditioning is air conditioning me. I'm conditioned in the air.
I feel like you're bragging a little bit. Like, we just turned it on, okay? We have air conditioning. It's just not...
I'm a little cold.
Fuck you. Oh, I'm loving it already. So I missed the last two matches of Dynamite. Just quick aside. Did I miss anything big?
The main event was weird because, like, Adam Cole and Britt just won. There was no bizarreness. It was a cool match.
Okay.
Like, it was a good match, and Britt beat the shit out of Jericho a little bit, which was kind of cool. I think that was a blow-off match.
Okay.
I think that feud's done.
That's weird. Because,
We'll talk. No, because I think Adam Cole's going to be MJF's next opponent.
I could buy that. Yeah.
I have other ideas in my head of something that would be better, but we'll get to that.
It's just like, it's a weird transition for for Jericho to win.
Jericho keeps losing, and that match, we'll talk about that later. Let's talk about that later. And then Chris Statlander defended her belt in a pretty good match.
I still love, like, I've slept a little bit on Nyla because she's on Dark a lot. She's not on Rampage I don't really watch Rampage, but like, I just think, like, she's amazing. And watching her tonight, the bit that I did see, like, I saw like the first like 2 or 3 minutes, and then I had to go shower.
It was good.
It was like,
it was good, but Nyla
crisp,
again is
like,
Nyla's in that spot where she comes out, faces a new champion, and loses.
And that's my thing. Like, why is she? You had enough faith in her at some point to make her the world champion, and now you're just like, whatever.
I just think that back then they didn't have the same division that they had now. I guess I don't know. They built so many more people up, and Nyla was easy because she was big and scary. I don't know. I can't answer that question. You're not wrong.
And hopefully
you're not wrong.
As we've talked about before, Collision, and potentially Rampage will give her
a place
and others more places for them to, like, show up on TV.
Hey, bud, I have a shocking news for you. CM Punk's coming back on Collision.
Oh my gosh. I did not see that coming at all. I was so shocked.
Stunned. Yep, now we can just spend the next 5 weeks talking about what we think is going to happen. That's our CM Punk conversation for tonight.
Is it though?
I was not blown away by this Dynamite.
Yeah. No, I liked it. I thought it was a good...
It's good.
It was not what I would have expected from the return... Like the what do you call it? The show after Double or Nothing. Yeah. There's like a fancy wrestling term.
I was expecting a few. Obviously, Kenny Omega is going to get Okada.
Or, well, I mean, Ibushi's not in Japan.
He's getting Okada, and they're going to do the 5 versus 5 with Okada. They could, though, if they got Okada and Ibushi. Mm-hmm. They would also then the Blackpool would need a 6th member, and I got a hell of a guy for that. We're not allowed to talk
Cena.
No, that would be amazing. Actually, no, we're not allowed to talk about the guy because we just said we weren't going to talk about him anymore. But
we can talk about him still.
If you threw Punk in there, ooh.
But, like, yes, awesome. But we have talked about on this show before, like, having factions that are too powerful.
Yeah.
BCC's already close to that. And, like, the work that they've done with Yuta over the past year, Danielson talked about this at the Scrum. Like, in WWE, taking a year for a guy would be like nothing. right? Like if they have their guy, it takes 4 or 5, 6 years for them to actually build him up, unless he's like an instant success. Then he doesn't hit the lower card or the mid card. He's just right away on the top. But then like but like in AEW, they have more heart for the talent, as Danielson put it. And I think that's a great way to put it. They have these amazing talents, and they're like, let's feature them. Let's make them better, and let's put them on the show. And they've done that with Yuta, and Yuta is...
paying off.
Yeah. He's amazing. Like...
Okay, that time I really was too cold. My fan was blowing at me. Sorry.
It's okay. Braggart.
No, I agree with you. I think I like the way they build better. There's a lot of talk online about how Double or Nothing wasn't a good show and Night of Champions and the NXT show are better. And I don't think that's the case. I think the issue is expectations. Because we don't expect anything out of WWE or NXT. Because they haven't been good. Whereas AEW is like off the fucking charts. So
yeah, I watched bits and pieces of Night of Champions. I didn't watch anything of NXT. I
didn't watch any of either. I read about it, but I just
like. I think you're right. I think it's the same. Like, Night of Champions this year was probably better than last year, if I had to guess. They apparently
like saying stubbing your toe is better than getting shot in the foot. It still sucks.
That's an analogy. An amazing one, because like I think like it's in steps.
I look at WWE and it's so fucking chaotic, and it's so stupid. And granted, it's professional wrestling, so you kind of create your own narrative. Well, look, I'll use that. Braun Strowman would be proud, but like you kind of do, you make your own thing. And I was listening to somebody talk today about streaks and how Jade Cargill. Her streak fucking mattered.
Yes. And
people went fucking nuts for that. But in WWE at the same time, they had Bianca Belair, who was champion forever. The longest reigning women's champion in WWE modern history. And no one gave a fuck when she lost to Asuka. Because you have her, and then you have the Usos who held the belts forever. And then you have Roman, and then you have Gunther. You have all these guys that it doesn't mean anything.
Because everybody has a streak. Yeah.
That's the problem. They don't understand that. And it's really... You know, and then people defend that by saying, "Well, you gotta have them be champions for a long time to make it mean something." And that's true. You can't just hot potato the belt.
Yes, that's true.
But how long has Orange Cassidy been international champion? / All Atlantic.
Late last year.
I don't even think.
I think.
Well, yeah. He hasn't even been champion for a year.
Yeah.
But he defends that belt constantly, and in that time he's defended that belt. That belt means more. It means more because of the matches he's having and the way he's defending it, not because he's been champion forever. And I think that's kind of WWE just thinks if you hold the belt forever, you're important, but that's not really the case.
And that's a great point, because like you look at Jade Cargill is a great example. We started like sort of groaning whenever we heard about Jade Cargill, because like you and me and Leon, because they were getting
Leon's
to a
not here.
point.
He's pooping.
Yeah, he's pooping. It's a very long poop. It's gonna be so happy we told everybody that. He's taking a class. So
dumping 101.
So like Jade Cargill, it was really exciting at the beginning because we started seeing this thing going, and she's a great heel. But then you started seeing the same matches, and you started seeing like the same build up for every match.
The only caveat to that, though, is that if they would have had 5 other people that were on some wild win streak, it wouldn't have meant shit.
Yes.
They had one.
Yeah.
They had one. That's what made the difference.
It was still a big deal. Like, but we were grumbly about it because of the way that it was being handled.
It went too long. But the payoff wasn't. We'll talk about the payoff later. But I mean, the payoff was actually great. The way they did that was great.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm having a hard time. I have a really hard time just caring about WWE, and they're back to doing we got to have the rubber match between Brock and Cody Rhodes. We got to have it. It's okay. But I knew you were going to do that fucking the second you did it. Like, yeah, great. That's the same thing you do with everybody.
That is the other thing about AEW is that like when they have these series where it's like Adam Cole and Chris Jericho, right? You just had this program for what, a month? Maybe? I don't 3
roughly.
weeks maybe. You just had this program with them and you have one each. I mean, they're not singles victories, but like let's call it one each, right? Like you're stopping, potentially they're stopping the program here, but they can pick it up later down the line. Where WWE doesn't do that. WWE is like, this is the program. You take 2 months, 1 month, 3 months, whatever it's going to take to finish the program, and then you just move on.
And you don't come back. And I like the way that AEW does that.
Yeah.
And they come back to shit, like long-term shit gets booked.
Yes.
You know?
Mm-hmm. That was one thing that like came up when I was reading through the results for Night of Champions, was that like, you know, we're starting to see this long-term booking paying off for Roman Reigns. And I mean, it's paying off, but I also think that they slept on it a little bit.
It's paying off, but they've ruined so many guys, and it's at the expense of so many people.
Yes.
That's not worth it.
Yes. What was my point though? Like the problem is that like when you have that kind of long-term booking where it's circled, it's around one guy and you're ruining all of these people. I guess you kind of touched on it. Like you're ruining all of these people to like in service of the long-term booking. Whereas what AEW does is more like you're telling more than one story. Like in the case of Adam Cole and Jericho, you're not just telling the story of those two. You can't, because like if one guy goes over the other, then you've kind of ruined the other person. So like you're still telling Adam Cole's story, and it will culminate into like other programs for him. But the other big thing
that AEW doesn't have to do is 50-50 booking.
Oh God, yes, yeah.
That's all the WWE does is 50-50. You win, I win. You win, I win. You win, I win. It doesn't.
That's annoying.
No, it does, but it doesn't. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, wins don't matter. That's the problem.
I think a prime example of that is the Orange Cassidy Pac feud, because Pac beat the fucking shit out of Orange Cassidy every time. But every time he got a little closer, then finally he beat him. Mm-hmm. And it was like this moment. Even though I was mad at the time because I was tired of the match, just the same thing kept happening.
which is I was fair, wrong. But like
I was wrong.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
Okay.
Dynamite tonight was good. But it wasn't like earth-shatteringly good. It was just okay.
It was a strange...
Cassidy and Swerve.
Mm-hmm.
I think Swerve's the guy.
Yeah.
I do. I think Swerve's the guy.
Is
Swerve the guy next week, or is Swerve the guy on Collision episode 1?
Ooh, intriguing.
I think there's going to be some. I think Cassidy's going to beat him this week or next week, and I think he's going to lose at Collision. But I think Swerve's the guy. I think it's time. Let Swerve have a run. Swerve's great, and him and Cassidy will blow the fucking roof off that place. That should be the main event too. I mean, that'll be a hell of a match. Give Orange Cassidy like a couple weeks off, bring him back, and. There's a ton of things you could do with that guy right now.
Yeah.
There's a ton of things you could do with that guy right now. And he's so beat up. It's kind of like that little caveat to save him. Like, yeah, he lost the belt, but he was so beat up. Shit, I almost would have town booking, obviously. I would almost have him take like 3 weeks off, come back, and answer an open challenge to MJF. Because you could get a fucking pay-per-view match out of that. And if you built that right, that would be a great build, and that match would be awesome. He should not beat MJF. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying he could easily be a pay-per-view opponent. And it would be such a... I think it could be a fun feud. I think Orange Cassidy, he's at a point where he needs that elevation, as he's proven right now. You know, could you imagine him as world champion doing what he just did with that belt? I mean, that would be fucking amazing.
Yes, please.
That would be fucking amazing.
Yes, please.
You know, but I'm not saying he should beat MJF because I don't think that.
Yeah, I think. I mean, we can do that at some point, but like, yeah. Brian Alvarez had a good take on this, I think. They've been building up this bidding war of 2024. That's MJF's thing. He's still doing it, right?
I heard this too.
So Alvarez thinks that they're going
he loses it right before the bidding war, and then he comes back because he wants to get his belt back.
That's not what I heard. What I heard was that he was going to... what I heard from Alvarez was...
I might have oversimplified what I said.
was that he was just going to keep it until 2024. And then that's the thing that like sparks some kind of program, and maybe it's the program that you're talking about, because it was like a brief beat into talking about something else. So maybe you heard the word.
I even think if you have him say he's the greatest, blah 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 blah, and then he loses to somebody, and then he wants to come back to get his belt back.
Yeah,
because I don't think he's leaving. I don't think he's leaving. Because
no.
I don't think he's gonna. He is getting to do everything he wants to do right now, and I think he's making pretty good money. I think he's staying.
Yeah,
and I think that creative freedom and that ability, like he would be neutered in the WWE.
Yeah,
they'd want to write promos for him, and that's a guy you just kind of like, here's a microphone, go say shit. Bye. So, yeah, we should. Is there any other things that I wanted to talk about before we continue on? Like tonight? No, tonight was just fine. I know what I want to talk about. When Jack Perry came out to save
Hook. Yeah.
You know what I wanted him to do? Bash that fucking chair over Hook's head. And I don't know why.
I feel like it would be the other way around, but I also feel like
no, it would have been so fucking awesome if he would have just destroyed Hook and been like, "Fuck you, I'm taking that belt." Because then he'd get that edge, and I think that's what he's missing right now. I think he's that edge. I don't know that like a heel, like I don't know about a heel turn, but I could, like tonight I'm sitting there like, oh my god, hit him with the chair, just fucking do it, it'd be amazing.
Just to edge a little tiny bit towards the pay-per-view. I think what they're playing towards, and I could be wrong, but I think what they're playing towards is sort of like trying to get the other three pillars to sort of like push past their limits, their limitations, and that's why they're showing like Darby Allin getting taken over the way, like to getting beaten the way that he did. He now has an obstacle to get over. Like Jungle Boy being sort of like divisive about whether or not he should do the thing, and you know,
that
like
killer instinct. Yeah.
And so maybe we'll see them like
you're hitting the nail on the head. I think that's good.
And I think Jungle Boy needs it. Like Jungle Boy is amazing, but I think his character is still a little one-dimensional. Not
a little happy-go-lucky.
Yes, yeah. It's still a little shallow, I guess.
Let's just go to the pay-per-view.
Let's go to the pay-per-view.
You got the card?
I do. Oh my god, I do.
Okay.
So I took notes. It's ridiculous. So did you watch the pre-show?
Oh hell yeah! I watched the whole thing.
So
I watched from the second it starts. This match to me was fine. I don't know. Jeff Hardy looked like shit. I don't know if that was on purpose.
Hold on one second. It was the Hardys and Hook defeating Ethan and the Guns. I didn't finish.
And
so
I thought Jeff looked like shit.
Really?
And I don't know if they're doing that on purpose. Like I think they might be doing that on purpose. But he looked like he just was like a step behind, and that may be part of what they're trying to do for some angle.
It seemed like to me that he was holding back a little bit for the reasons that we talked about last week. I have a feeling that Tony Khan said, "Dude, chill out," but you know, in Tony Khan, the way that he says it, and like
Tony Khan speak.
Yeah, and I think my hope is that Jeff listened. That Jeff was like, okay, you know, like I keep coming, I keep, because this is his last chance. From my understanding, this is it. Like if it happens again, he's done with AEW, which totally makes sense to me.
Yeah. I didn't like this feud. I didn't like this. This match was fine.
Yeah.
But the stipulation was just kind of like, I don't know. It just, I don't care.
Matt Hardy.
I'm sorry. I love Ethan Page. I love the Ass Boys. I love the Hardy Boys, and I love Hook. I love all the guys involved. I think they're great. I've been very adamant that I'm tired of Jeff because I'm worried about Jeff because I don't want to see Jeff like there's a guy who will read a news story one day that he died like the night after a show because he overdosed on some shit, and that's my concern with him. Like we need to protect him to keep him around.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt Hardy is in a really weird spot, and he has been kind of since he got in AEW.
Mm-hmm.
Like he hasn't. When he came in, you thought he was going to be like top guy, but that never really clicked. And then he was kind of an upper mid card guy, but that didn't work, and he's just slowly falling down the card. And he's kind of like a lower mid card guy, like a veteran.
Yeah.
Like he's not really doing anything relevant.
Which is,
and I know that they're getting the Hardy Boys the AEW tag belts has to be one of their goals, because then they've held like everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would be great, but it's kind of at the same time, it's like this may not be it.
Would it mean as much, right? Like with
may
Jeff
not be
in
it.
the space that he's in, I think Jeff looked good in the match. Like not phenomenal, not his best condition, but I think what I wrote was he looks just about as sloppy as ever, because he's always been a little sloppy. But I think overall the match was like
I
the
thought he
wrestling in
looked
the match
healthier.
was really
I thought he looked
crisp.
healthier than he has.
Yeah.
But I thought that when he came back, I thought he looked healthier. But I'm just like, let's not do the crazy shit. Like that's just my concern is he starts doing stuff and you're just like, don't fucking do that. Don't put him in a ladder match. Don't let him jump off shit. Like yeah, the guy will do it because he's fucking cracked. But this match wasn't bad. The story. I'm just not feeling it.
Yeah, I'm with you. And maybe it'll wrap. Maybe it won't. I want to see Hook and Ethan Page wrestle more, because I think those two are the ones to like. They're the ones. And watching this match also, I am more fond of the Guns at this point. Like seeing them in that match, I
don't think they get enough credit for it there.
No. I also think that
really
they've grown.
good.
Like especially with their work with FTR, I do wonder if they've done some stuff on the indies since we last saw them.
Probably
because they read better to me in this match.
They understand their gimmicks so well.
Yes,
and they play them so well, and they're so fan. Like I love them. They're just so good. I wasn't stoked when they beat the Acclaimed, but now I look at it, I'm like, it makes sense what they were trying to do. There was a story they were telling.
Mm-hmm.
The Acclaimed seems pretty aimless right now.
Yeah,
I think they're going to turn on Billy Gunn.
I can see that.
That's just how tonight felt.
Yeah,
I think they're going to turn on Billy Gunn, or Billy Gunn's going to turn on them. Go back to the Ass Boys. Here, the Ass Boys, Billy S. and the Ass Boys.
I sort of feel like that is the way, because I think I was thinking about that last night or recently. Like, are they can the Acclaimed even go back to being heel again? I don't know that they can. Like, I look at John Cena, and he could never go back to being heel when he was the rapping.
There's just that caveat of they feel like, or I feel like, I guess, that they are kind of like in a spot where they got to figure out what the fuck they're doing with them, so they don't just become this gimmick where they come out and rap and don't do anything exciting. You know what I mean? Like, they have to find a way to use them.
Mm-hmm.
They can't just rely on them for that pop.
Yeah.
So.
And I think they'll probably do that once, their steam is running out a little bit. So, shift gears a little bit.
And we're going to talk about them later.
Yeah.
Okay, bud.
So then we had the Owen Hart ceremony, which was fine. It's cool that they're having it start in Canada and end in Canada.
I like that. The hat Tony Khan wore was odd. The way that Martha Hart was talking was a little odd.
She's a little odd in general. I think, but she's not. I mean, it's very clear that she's used to public speaking in front of like donors and stuff.
Yeah, not
and
AEW
not AEW fans. She's not an AEW, like she's not a wrestling person. At least not in the same way that Tony Khan or whoever is. And
Tony Khan looked like a dork with that hat on, and I love Tony Khan. So like a complete dork. It's just like, oh my god, Tony.
Martha Hart bought that for him and wanted to say the gangster comment, and I was like, this sounds borderline racist. And then Tony Khan came out, and I was like, oh, okay, I understand now what you're talking about.
Yeah. Keep going, bud.
So then we went to the main card, which started with the Battle Royal. Amazing. Like,
I enjoyed this. I thought they told some really good stories within this Battle Royal. Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends are splitting up.
Yeah, but they I don't know, because they took, like, Trent took a boot to the face for Orange. Chuck helped him win as well.
But I think the story is going to end up being, we did all this for you, what did you ever do for us? And I could see them turning heel on Orange, which may not be a bad thing for him to do. I think it would work. Because the Best Friends right now, they're just fodder for Orange Cassidy. Like, if you want to get them to the next level, heel Best Friends, might not be bad. And there's enough people around. That could be maybe when, like, Danhausen comes back, and then you can have a Danhausen Cassidy against Best Friends feud.
I could see that. Yeah. The Best Friends are kind of languishing, aren't they? Like, Chuck
just
Taylor
there.
is.
They're just they're great.
Yeah.
But they're just and they're not guys who Tony Khan's going to let go because they're important. Mm-hmm. But they're also just kind of like, they need to play out that jealousy angle of, you got big and you did all this, and what the fuck did you ever do for us? Then Orange Cassidy would be like,
whatever.
I enjoyed this. So there was so many pieces of this. I like the way people snuck in and tried to, like, not everybody started in the ring.
Yeah. That was intriguing.
The first spot of the match was Kip Sabian throwing Orange Cassidy over the top rope and almost eliminating him.
Yes.
I'm like, that was so fucking perfect. Mm-hmm. I love Kip Sabian.
I also love the fact that they, like, they've been doing this for a while, but I think they did it perfectly for this Battle Royal, where everybody had a story. The one person that I didn't think had a story was Dustin Rhodes, and then I remember that Dustin Rhodes had some business with, I want to say Swerve.
Yeah. The whole thing was great.
Yeah.
I figured out pretty quick that Orange Cassidy was winning this match.
Yeah.
When I looked at who was in it, I'm like, he's gonna fucking win this match. He's gonna keep this belt. Because if he defends it X amount of times, then he beats Dean Malenko's mark. And I think, shit, let's do it. Big Bill looked fucking amazing in this match, and it wasn't just that they gave him the push; it was that he actually looked good, and I thought he looked good tonight too. I think it amazes me that they're getting shit out of him and they're pushing him when Vince McMahon had no idea what to do with that guy.
Again, like we talked about with Wheeler Yuta, they're giving him time, and I have to imagine that he's learning under the tutelage of Big Show, that, like, he's coming up. And I think you're right. I think Vince did not understand him, and he said, "You're getting a pop being this guy. You're this guy, and that's it."
And I think I'm impressed with what they're doing with Big Bill. And when he first came in, I was kind of blah, but now I'm still like, they're doing a good job.
And he's getting in really good shape.
And they're using Brian Cage very well. His job as henchman for Swerve is fantastic. I loved this Battle Royal. I thought it was equal parts good, equal parts goofy. When you have Orange in there and he's doing his thing, that ending was fantastic. When Swerve and Orange, it was just down to those two, and they started, like, they turned it up a notch.
God, that was so awesome.
Holy fucking shit! I sent you a message immediately. I'm like, Orange and Swerve need to fucking have a feud.
Yeah,
because I'm just sitting there, and that ending where they, Prince Nana's cheating for him, and then Orange Cassidy finally catches him. He's gonna go for the orange punch. He puts his hand down, just casually walks over, kicks his foot off the rope. I'm like, that's fucking perfect.
That was awesome. Yeah.
But I do think Swerve's the guy. I think Swerve's the guy.
And then you can set up Swerve and Lee for the title, which is when that happens. And I look at that, like, I look at Swerve and Lee, and they're sort of like...
Slow burn.
At first I thought they're sleeping on this feud. But whenever they get in the ring together, there's always tension. And it always winds up being Swerve outsmarts him in some way, or like there's always some skullduggery where, like, he doesn't get it. Like when Keith Lee gets that moment
and beats him,
that's gonna be so fucking.
That's
good.
why I do think that it's time. I think it's time for Orange to lose to Swerve, and I know I'm the biggest Orange Cassidy mark there is.
Yeah,
but Swerve Slicken's fucking awesome, and him and Orange will have a great match and put Swerve over. I give Orange a couple weeks off, like I said, bring him back. There's a ton of things you can do with him. He's like a bona fide star now. Like, you can do just about anything you want with that guy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But this was good. This was very well done. And I don't think I didn't think anybody looked necessarily bad. Like, the Butcher and the Blade didn't look that great. The varsity athletes looked really stupid, but that's kind of what they are.
Yeah, they're goofy, sort of like
heels,
airheaded heels. Yeah.
But no, I thought it was good all around.
I agree.
Next, bud.
So next was Adam Cole with Roderick Strong defeating Chris Jericho by ref stoppage, which was weird.
I did not like this match. This match was weird.
Yeah, they made this big deal about, it's going to be Roderick Strong and Sabu are out with Adam Cole, and then the JAS are going to be out there. And then they scooted in like 2 minutes.
There's two problems with this. Okay, one was your main event is fucking Anarchy in the Arena.
Yeah,
you can't do that twice.
Yeah, no, that's true.
You got to do something else with this. They should not have done this with this stipulation. But they kind of put themselves in a corner with it. Sabu looked like shit.
I don't think so.
Like physically, he looked like shit. Like, what he did was fine. I didn't think he looked very good. He was also in a suit, which was weird.
He wanted to look nice. He had some pretty nasty health issues, from my understanding, over the past year, and he's come back and he looked pretty healthy to me.
He didn't look great.
I remember seeing him. What was it, GCW? I think.
Yeah. Oh my god, he looked so bad.
And
there.
He was just like, he had a mask on, and he just looked like he wanted to leave. He's like, "Why the fuck am I here? I don't want to be here anymore. I want to go home.
Give me my paycheck."
But in this one, like he contributed to the match. He wasn't doing anything crazy. The fact that he jumped off the top rope into a table was pretty fucking crazy. But that's like the biggest bump that he took.
This match was just, it just never got going, and it just never, it just wasn't good.
What did I write?
I shouldn't say that. It was fine.
I didn't have very much about this. It sort of reminded me of like a Jericho HBK street fight, and then I remembered Janela versus Cardona at the World. Sort of like that weird, like, crazy circus. But what you've just said, like, that made me realize that, like, if they had gone that route and made it like a giant circus, which they got close to doing, they needed to make it a giant circus. It needed to be JAS comes back out, Jushin Liger comes out, some guy in a clown, make it fucking crazy. But then you're competing with Anarchy.
The ending was just flat.
Yeah.
And it killed the crowd.
And it was weird. It did. Killed the crowd. Yeah.
I think this was, for me, this legitimately was the low point of the night.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. And it wasn't like, it wasn't bad, but it just was not put together right.
It was fun.
But it wasn't good either. It was it was.
For like an unsanctioned match, they have a long history of unsanctioned matches
that are insane.
But
again, Anarchy in the Arena, which I'm sure we're gonna have a fucking ton to say about. So
yes.
All right, buddy.
I imagine.
What's next?
Next is FTR fighting Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. Everybody will be happy to know that FTR won.
Thank God. Karen Jarrett hit the ref with a guitar, and I was just like, I'm not gonna lie to you.
She fucked
I'm not gonna lie to you.
She fucking
I'm not gonna lie to you. This match did not have my attention at all.
It was fine.
I was not invested in it. It was fine. The right team won. The right outcome came. Mm-hmm. Yes, bud.
I 100% agree with what you're saying. This felt like, so FTR calls back to like the 80s wrestling, let's say. Mm-hmm. And I think Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett sort of call back to like 90s, like early 90s wrestling, maybe late 90s wrestling. And I think it was interesting to see that here, because like I finally got that. That finally clicked for me, that they were trying to like look at this old style wrestling that's not like high flying. It's like punching, but like But then, like, you have Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett doing sort of the, like, goofy heel shit where, like, I'm going to hit you with a guitar, or, Sanjay Dutt is going to grab your leg and that kind of shit. It was fine. Like, it was a decent match. It's just, like, in this card, which I think, honestly, I think Double or Nothing, I think this one was an amazing card all around. I thought it was going to be like 50-50, like half of the matches kind of suck and half of them were good, but I enjoyed all of them. But this was fine.
It just was.
Like, it was fine.
It wasn't bad. I'm about to say it was bad.
It's
the right team won. Jarrett ate the pinfall.
He did.
Stunned me.
On a pay-per-view.
On
a fucking pay-per-view.
Yeah, I think. Well, I don't know. It was the right thing. It's what had to happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I felt, and they did the right thing. The build up to this was so ridiculous, the bullshit and stuff, and it was just like, get Karen Jarrett off my fucking TV.
But like, they actually put time into the build, so I appreciate that.
The match told the story,
mm-hmm.
and I give them kudos for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, again, it's 2023. I don't want to see Jeff Jarrett on my TV, and nothing is going to change that, and that's just how I feel. If
I'm Tony Khan and I'm going to keep Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal together, I want to move them to ROH. I think they would do wonders in ROH.
I think they'd be better over there.
For the company. But in AEW, they kind of just like are. Like, they don't have any direction.
And they're not relevant enough to, like, matter. This is about their peak.
But Jay Lethal does. Jeff Jarrett.
Jay Lethal could get you could build Jay Lethal the right way and get him up the card.
Absolutely. If you pull Jay Lethal away, I would love to see Jay Lethal and Scorpio Sky, but I don't know what's going on with Scorpio Sky.
Don't know either.
He hasn't been on TV for 100 years.
I hope he comes back. That's the
Me too. I love him.
But I like Scorpio. What was next, bud?
Jericho and Saraya had their promo, and I was happy that they were... My favorite line from that promo. What kind of woman hits a man with a kendo stick?
Yeah, I remember that. Jericho's a wizard. He threw the fireball at the guy. I fucking
don't
love
mess
it.
with me. I'm a fucking wizard.
It's so hokey, but I love it.
And I was happy they put together an intergender match, which wound up not being an intergender match. I don't know why I was expecting it to be intergender.
It's good though. Like I said, it was pretty good.
Good. I mean, I'm not surprised, but like, everybody in that match can go. They can put on a good show. So next was Wardlow and Christian Cage. This was a weird ladder match. Arn bit a dude's thumb off. Like, what the fuck is that?
I mean, he didn't really, but it was fucking weird. This match was like a weird ladder match, but at the same time, it wasn't bad, and I kind of enjoyed it in a weird way.
Yeah.
It was like not what I was expecting or what you expect of a ladder match. Wardlow doing the fucking swanton off that big ladder was fucking crazy.
He even made call to Jeff Hardy, which was amazing. I loved it.
This match was good. I don't think it was bad. It was just...
Well, and having...
it was a weird build-up.
Having Luchasaurus come out, it was a weird build-up, and it was very quick, and I still don't entirely understand why they went with Christian Cage.
I don't understand why it had to be a fucking ladder match. Why didn't you just have it be a normal match? Because you could have...
Yeah.
That I guess that's my... Like, you could have had the normal match. Something happens, Christian gets mad, wants another match, and then does a ladder. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But...
I
don't know how I feel about Wardlow and Arn. I don't know if it's clicking for me.
Yeah.
I need to see more. But this was fine.
They're I think, like, if they're gonna do the Four Horsemen, cool. Arn doesn't have to come out. Like, Arn can stay in the back, like he did for Cody. Sometimes he didn't always do that.
Cody may have already called going to the WWE. That was the best choice for him. He's doing great stuff over there.
Yes. Which is like saying that getting a stubbed toe is better than breaking your toe. I don't remember your analogy. I was
getting shot in the foot, I believe, is what I said.
Shot in the foot. Yeah, that's.
It was a strange analogy. What was next?
Tony Storm defeated Jamie Hayter.
This had so much fuckery. Tony Storm's hurt.
Yeah.
Or not Tony Storm. Jamie Hayter's hurt.
Yes.
And that they had to go real, like, overbook, bizarre fuckery bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
The payoff for this is going to be all in
When
they have the rematch and Jamie Hayter wins at the UK.
I'm glad that they didn't make it, because they could have very easily, with all of the injuries that the Outcasts have put onto Jamie, they could have just made it, they fuck her up, throw her in the ring, 1, 2, 3. Shortest match.
Yeah, they did a little bit, but it was like they overbooked the shit out of it.
3 minutes and 5 seconds, according to Wikipedia.
Yeah, they overbooked the shit out of it. But she was clearly not 100%.
Absolutely.
And
it is.
I don't mind Tony Storm being champ. I think the payoff for this is down the road. This was weird, but I think the payoff's down the road.
I think the payoff for this match is Tony Storm. Like, Tony Storm has hit her. Like, this is the thing that has gotten her voice, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, because she's her as a heel is just like, it's clicking with me.
She's got her fucking swagger.
Yes.
Oh, she's great. She's fucking great. And I think it was just one of those. But I still say the payoff's going to be when Hayter goes to the UK.
Yes.
They fight for the belt and Hayter beats her.
Yes.
Clean in the middle of the ring. That's the fucking payoff.
I agree. I just want to point out that I loved Tony's gear. That was it.
So did I.
It was cool. So the next match was House of Black defeating the Acclaimed. Julia Hart grew her fingers out for this match, so that's pretty cool.
I think those are fake. I don't think those were.
I felt so bad for her because she left him on the whole match. I thought she was just going to leave him like for the intro, right? But like when she was like trying to get behind the House of Black, and the camera goes to her and she's like this. I was like, take those off. Like, just take them off. It's so weird that you're doing that.
This was fine. I don't know why they didn't like say they were going to do this, because it was pretty obvious they were going to do it. It was fine. The House of Black's great. The Acclaim's great. There could have been more into this. Maybe they're going to turn this into a more of a long-standing feud, but I don't want the Acclaim to beat the House of Black.
No.
I want the House of Black to have a fucking run.
Yes.
Like a legit run.
They could, what I wrote down was they could hold these titles for years. Because I think between, like, you think of The Undertaker and his, not that he didn't have an intimidating presence in the ring, but like his entrance was like the thing. Like, that was the coolest
That's
part.
what they have. They have such a different piece compared to everybody else in this company.
They have all of it. The entrance is creepy as fuck. And then they have the face paint, and like their presentation and everything is very fucking creepy.
The way they're booked, the way they wrestle.
Yes. And now the way that they're defending these titles with the like weird lighting and shit, like, I'm not totally sold on it, but it definitely gives a vibe.
I am. I like it. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I think it makes it unique.
Mm-hmm.
Just have to keep fucking dropping people.
Yes, absolutely.
I think, you've booked yourself into a corner with the Acclaim because you have a really popular team that you don't have anything to do with.
Yeah.
What the fuck do you do? So you gotta find something for them to do. I don't know. We'll find out what they're gonna do, I guess.
Yeah. It seems like they're going for it again, but I don't see them winning it. Like, why?
I don't see the point. I think Billy Gunn turns on him and joins the Ass Boys.
I could see that.
I think that's the way to do it. So, what was next, bud?
Just
you got a moment to say. I thought you were.
Yeah, I loved Billy Ass's sequence at the end. Like, I think he only had like 5 minutes in the match, 3 minutes in the match. I think he just had that last bit.
Yeah.
But it was fucking amazing. Like, fuck you, and then fucking.
Then he gets just KO'd by the kick and pin.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
I loved it. But not that part. I loved his sequence in particular.
I thought this match was good. I thought it did what it needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't necessarily like groundbreaking or anything, but that's okay.
It was good. The next one was Jade Cargill versus Taya Valkyrie. I thought this was a good match.
I was surprised by this match. I was surprised by how much fan reaction this match got.
Yes.
When Taya hit that fucking move on her and everybody thought it was over, you could fucking feel it. I was like, oh fuck, she's gonna lose to Taya, because I don't really want Taya to win, because I just like, nah. But I'm like, fuck, sweet, Taya's gonna win. It's 1-2, and she kicks out. I'm like, fuck. Then she just beats her. I was like, oh. Then everybody's kind of like, oh. And then Sterling grabs that microphone. It's like, we'll take anybody on at any time. We're 60-0. I'm like, oh, and I knew it was fucking Statlander. I'm like, and she walks out, that place went fucking bonkers.
Yes.
And it just, the pop never stopped. Because everybody fucking knew this is the fucking moment. And then she pinned her. That place went absolutely fucking crazy. That was a moment. That was done so well.
It was.
That was done so fucking well.
And that...
We've bitched so much about Jade Cargill. But she's a fucking star.
And I've complained about this idea that we need to hold off. We need to hold off until Chris is better. But now I don't think that.
No,
I think this
worked.
is an amazing payoff.
It worked.
Yeah.
It made Statlander look,
incredible. Yes.
And it was good. I thought it was good. I thought the whole thing was, I thought it was perfect. Now they're going to do a Statlander Taya feud, which I think is
it's great. A good step, I think.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how she does working with Statlander. Statlander's a much better worker than Jade.
Yeah.
And Taya has not blown me away with her work.
I think this match was probably
better. Probably one of her best ones.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know if she's just getting comfortable in the company or what, but
it might be that.
match,
yeah.
This match, I was like, oh, it's a piss break, and then I started watching it. I'm like, okay, this actually isn't bad. And then I'm into it. I'm like, fuck, I'm into this match. What happened? And then the ending, that false finish where fucking she, like I said, when she hit her with that move, clean boom in the middle of the ring, I'm like, no fucking way, they're gonna do it. I was like, oh fuck, they didn't do it. Then I was kind of pissed. And then out comes Stat. It's just, you just went fucking bonk. Like I popped. Like I legit popped. Yeah. It was fucking great.
And her return, she comments on this in the scrum that like her last return was like coming out of the claw machine. She's like, how do I top that? And then she goes, I think this works.
Yeah, it does.
And I'm like,
totally
yes,
does.
yes, it does. And she's totally...
The claw machine was great, though, too.
Mm-hmm. That it was. So the next match was MJF, Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, Jungle Boy.
I don't know, and I'm going to be point blank with you. I know for a fact I have never seen a four-way as good as this match.
Oh, God, yes.
This is the greatest four-way I've ever fucking seen. Mm-hmm. This was insane. There was, like, no... One of the issues I have with WWE, we used to do this in WWA, is when you have a multi-person match, you'd roll out of the ring and let the other guys go, and then come back in, kind of be late, so it'd always be 2 versus 2.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't fucking do that.
No, they didn't.
They had everybody in the ring all the time, and it was like, boom, 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 boom. It was just...
Well, they had a few times when they had, like, taken out MJF, and it was just the 3 of them. MJF was out. I loved that bit that they did as an aside, like right in the beginning, where they like did this incredible sequence, and then they all stop and they're standing in the ring, and MJF comes up on the thing, and he's like, like he was so Bugs Bunny in this match, because he was just taunting them the whole time.
And when Darby flipped over him, what the fuck?
I loved that so much. What the fuck? And they just like, oh my god.
This match was... This feud I didn't like, and I think I said that last week, is that it was kind of eh. This match still made everybody look like a fucking star.
It was a little phoned in, I think.
Nobody looked bad in this match.
God, no.
This match, they all look like fucking stars.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of those things where it was like, this feud wasn't good. But you knew this match was going to be good, but this match was so good, it made up for all that bullshit.
When I think...
I loved the ending, too.
I kind of feel like... God, the ending. I kind of feel like... I think I said this last week. I feel like Tony Khan was like, this is going to be an amazing match.
Yep.
So we don't have to go overboard with the build-up for this.
The build-up should be easy.
Yeah.
We started together, we're the 4 guys, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. Here it is. We're going to go out there. I thought Sammy Guevara stole the show.
Really?
I thought Sammy Guevara stole the show.
I was going to say Darby.
Well, you could say that too. I could also probably say Jungle Boy or MJF. I don't know, you just kind of pick
I mean, in different ways. I think everybody kind of...
I thought Sammy Guevara's, just the stunts and the shit he did in that match were fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Just fucking amazing. This match just... Edge of my seat the whole time. I knew MJF was going to win, but it didn't fucking matter. It was like that. It was just like...
Yeah.
You got so caught up in the match. It was just fucking good. It was just like nobody looked weak. Nobody looked stupid. Everybody looked good. And then at the end, MJF just managed to pull it off.
With that
there's so many
headlock takeover. Jesus Christ.
It was perfect, though. It was fucking perfect. And then they can go back to that feud with Darby. They can go back to the feud with Sammy.
Mm-hmm.
They have set the path. I like the part, too, where, Sammy came out and said they were pregnant, him and Ty.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because we haven't seen Ty in a while. And then when he grabs the microphone, he's like, hey, lay down for me. You got a baby coming. You got money to think about. You need to take care of that baby. Sammy's like, fine, I'll lay down for you. Lays down, then puts him in a cradle.
I wonder if when they did that bit, I was like, did he ad-lib that? Or was that the plan all along? Because it seemed like they were like, it seemed like Guevara was like saving that information for the crowd. And I wonder if I was trying to figure out, did he save that? Like, did he not tell anybody? And this was the way of telling everybody, in which case Max had to come up with that on the fly. And that's just the guy that Max is. Like, he can do that.
I thought it was perfect either way.
Regardless, it was amazing.
It was amazing.
That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to happen if it would have been Sammy versus MJF. Just those two, for like Sammy to lay down and then like fuck him over.
Yeah. Then I thought I don't know, this match was, these four guys are like, I look at WWE right now and I look at that company and I say, who do they have that's up and coming? They've got Seth Rollins and they've got AJ Styles and they've got Roman Reigns. They've got all these guys. But in 5 years, when those guys are like not, is AJ Styles going to be wrestling in 5 years? Is Roman going to be wrestling in 5 years?
No.
Seth Rollins probably will be. So you've got like some guys, but then you look over here and it's like in fucking 5 years, Jungle Boy and Sammy and Darby and Max are going to be like 30.
Yeah.
They're going to be in their fucking prime.
I mean, that's the difference. It's like their up and coming guys are Seth. And I would say Seth, Sammy, Kevin. I can't think of a fourth in this moment. But like,
they're already guys that have been there.
They've been there. They're like our age. And so like in 5 years, they're going to be either ready to hang it up or sort of like slowing down.
Elder statesman. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's one of the biggest differences. I think AEW is youth. And WWE keeps signing people like, this guy was a pole vaulting champion, and now we're going to turn him into a WWE superstar. And they have no actual, they have no knowledge of the business. So their matches are, very scripted. And this four-way just fucking was, let's fucking go. Mm-hmm. Let's just fucking go tear this shit down. And they tore it down. And, to me, it's like, those four guys, you throw in Hook, and you throw in
Wheeler
Yuta, and
Daniel Garcia,
and Ricky Starks. These guys are all under 30.
Hobbs. I don't know where Hobbs is on the age scale, but a lot of these guys.
Hobbs ain't old either. They're young. They're fucking young. Yeah. And in 5 years, you're going to be looking at a company that's shit. They're going to be fucking stacked.
What?
And WWE's going to try to steal these guys. They have to, because they do not have the people. Mm-hmm. They have the better star power right now. You can't argue that they do. It's fact, great, whatever. But in 5 years, you're sitting here those four guys in that match, they're not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. They're going to fucking be there, and those are going to be the four biggest stars in this business. MJF is already one of the top 3-4 stars in the business. Mm-hmm. And that fucker ain't hit his prime. No. He's still climbing.
He's 26.
He's still climbing.
Yeah.
He's that dude. I know Leon hates him, and I get it, but it's just that fucking guy is so good. He's so good. He can cut a promo like no other. He can think on his feet. He has the look, and he can fucking work. He can do it all. He's that guy.
And I think that's the difference. If you look at him versus Roman Reigns, because I think their sort of reason for taking matches is very similar, right? Roman doesn't want to wrestle a bunch. Neither does MJF. But I think if you look at the matches, if you compare them, MJF just has more visually interesting and engaging matches than Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is a product of the WWE system. So it's you have these 5 moves, sometimes you can go outside of them, but for the most part, you're Roman Reigns, and this is what you do. Like, you do these 5 moves, and then good job. But like MJF, as he points out in the scrum, like you have, I watched the scrum, by the way. He points
Those
out
scrums can be pretty wild sometimes. I heard.
I enjoyed that one.
Hence my shirt.
Nobody claimed they were hurt or old. And no pickles this time, sadly.
Did anybody claim that they worked with fucking children?
No. I lost my train of thought. Oh, so the dog collar match, the 4-way now, the Iron Man match. Like, he's had amazing matches with amazing wrestlers that are big.
Different.
They're big fucking deals. Like,
They're fucking different. He's a big deal, and I think that's the really hard caveat for, especially for Leon,
mm-hmm.
who has these ideas in his head that you have to wrestle, defend that belt all the time. Shit, he doesn't need to.
No.
Him not doing it makes him a spectacle.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Roman Reigns is a spectacle now too, but it's not the same.
It's different.
Because Roman Reigns matches are all the same.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas opposed to fucking MJF's matches they're a lot different.
And the build is
and
different.
So I watched that. Let's be done with this one. Let's go to the next one because I'm going to tell my story there.
Yeah. So BCC, which was in this case Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta. I don't know why I said that because it's the only 4 members. Defeated the Elite, Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, and Hangman.
Okay, I'm going to go right out on a limb here and say I rewatched this match tonight.
Okay.
When I ate dinner with my parents tonight, we watched this match.
Okay.
And my mom is a mark.
Okay.
And she thinks it's like, oh my god, what are they doing? And this match just absolutely blew her fucking mind.
I mean,
and the old man has, he's watched me. He watched wrestling when he was a kid, and he watched, he took us to wrestling. Did you go with? I can't remember. I don't think you did.
I don't think so.
No, it was me and Leon and Rainville and Jensen went with him. He took us to Monday Night Raw in Chicago once or twice. He kind of went down there with us, and I think once in Milwaukee. So he went down there, and we did that with him, and so he's used to WWE,
mm-hmm.
and he's watching this match, and he's like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yes.
He's like, "This is insane."
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "These guys are fucking nuts," and my mom is sitting there like, oh, "What the fuck are they doing?" She's like, literally, "Oh my god, I can't handle it. It's making my stomach turn." And it's just like, and
mm-hmm.
my dad's just like, he's got a good. He grew up with wrestling. He understands it. And he just kind of goes to me. He's like, how the fuck does Vince compete with this? There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way Vince can compete with this.
Mm-hmm.
His guys are big and slow and can't do this.
And
it's like,
why do you think Vince is constantly complaining about the blood and guts? Like, that's why that. Why that?
I don't even think it's the blood and guts though, because I think it's that. The AEW wrestlers are more athletic than the WWE wrestlers.
Yes, absolutely.
And that sounds so strange because those WWE wrestlers are amazing athletes. Like, I don't want to knock them because they're amazing fucking people. And I think part of it is, I think a big part of it is WWE makes people hold back.
It's
Ricochet.
It's a system.
Could you imagine fucking Ricochet in AEW?
Oh my god, he would be done in a year.
He'd die. He'd fucking die. I mean, but those other guys like Seth Rollins in AEW,
mm-hmm.
he would be amazing too.
Mm-hmm.
Like they hold back so much because they have their certain style, and their style is very based in like 1980s big guy, slow, methodical wrestling. Whereas like that 4-way match was just off the fucking charts. The shit they were doing. Vince can't compete with that. They can't do that. They cannot do that.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't have the people to do that. The people that they do have to do it, they're more interested in having Braun Strowman bump bellies with fucking whoever,
Right.
The tall guy whose name I forgot. Almost. Like, that's what they want to do. Let's have, they're both huge. Look at how big they are. And over here, it's like, hey, look at this fucking incredible match we just had. Is there any way that 4-way doesn't get 5 stars? That's a 5-star match.
Okay. To us, it is.
Anarchy in the Arena. Let's get going because this one was fucking wild.
Mm-hmm.
Loved the band.
Oh my god, I loved that.
Love the band. Love the spot where they finally super kicked the band. It was fucking amazing. This was just, I love this. I love the start of it when they're beating the shit out of each other with the music, because it's just fucking chaos, and the camera can't keep up. And if this was WWE, they would have stopped the spots, and they would have made sure everything got on camera. And here it was like, basically they're saying, this is so fucking crazy, we can't even keep up with this shit, which I think is perfect.
I mean, that was my one critique of the match. Like, I remember the last
But I think that was done on same thing.
Well, the original one, they had like 5 cameramen following everybody around, and so they were constantly switching all over the place. And yeah, we were missing stuff, but there was a guy for each. I
thought there was a guy for each one here too.
I didn't think so, because we lost Matt Jackson at one point. Matt Jackson and Claudio like went off on their own at one point. We didn't know.
If they had a camera guy. They had a camera guy back there with them that went in the back.
Well, not until later. Like, it was like 3
I think
or
they did
4
that on
minutes.
purpose, though.
Maybe.
I think they did that on purpose. This thing started off just kind of like your normal wild brawl. The first person to bleed was a referee.
Oh my god, yes. Forgot about that. That was ridiculous.
I was just like, this is fucking perfect. And then it just like slowly kept picking up momentum. I love the moment where Hangman accidentally kicked Kenny Omega in the face. And then everybody was like, oh. But then at the end of the match, they like work together. We're not just friends, we're family. And they just gotta give each other a hug and go fucking fight.
Oh yeah, that bit where they did, it was the 2 of them in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah,
that was fucking
and
great.
there was like, I don't remember if it was 3 or 4 of them. Yeah, and they just like looked at each other and they're like, we're gonna fuck them up, and they just go. That was amazing.
That was great. This shit picked up at one point. It shit got really like after the kick. And then
oh my god, the thumbtacks. Oh, I feel so bad for Matt.
So that was when shit started. Like, they started just beating the shit out of each other. They Moxley and Omega went through the barbed wire thing.
Which may or may not have glass in. Because
I don't know.
Mox had a bunch of shit on his back after that, and it
Mox
looks like
insane.
glass. He is.
Mox is fucking insane. He's just fucking insane. When Nick Jackson came out and there was a mat, whichever one kicked fucking
I forget.
Kicked him in the face with the exploding shoe.
Oh my god, that was ridiculous.
I was like, the fuck just happened? Like, you weren't expecting that. That was so fucking cool.
Not at all.
I think it was supposed to blow up more than once.
Perhaps, yeah, because he kicked a bunch of people.
He kicked Yuta and then didn't slap his leg because he was expecting an explosion. And then kicked him again and slapped his leg. Then they threw his fucking... when Cesaro or Claudio kicked his shoe into the crowd, was hilarious. And then they're taking his shoe off and stomping his foot. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? Why are they taking his shoe? And then they bring in the thumbtacks and I'm like, no. You're not fucking going to do that. And they fucking did it. I watched that with my mother, who just started screaming at the TV.
Yeah.
What are they doing? They should go to prison. What are they doing? And then they get him down and they put thumbtacks in his mouth. They're going to kill him. They should go to jail.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that was fucking crazy.
This was so much violence, but it was so... just, like, it was fun to watch. It was so over the top. It was just fucking...
As I was watching it, I was thinking, like... It felt thematically different than the first one. The first one felt goofy. In the way that, like, WWE hardcore matches feel goofy. Like, they're serious to a certain extent, but they're also, like, it's guys hitting each other with trash cans and stuff. Like, it had that sort of feel to it. This one felt...
violent.
Darker. More violent, I think, makes more sense.
Like anger, like we're trying to fucking hurt you.
Yes.
This version of Bryan Danielson is the best version of Bryan Danielson I have ever fucking seen. He is so incredible right now. And he was awesome in this match.
Yes, he was.
He was awesome because he was like point man. You know. And then the ending with Takeshita. Loved it. Thought it was good. Thought a great thing to do. Boy, had that been CM Punk, what would have happened?
So that was what I thought was going to happen. I thought Punk was going to come in, but after the shit with Don Callis tonight, I'm thinking CM Punk is going to be with Don Callis.
Yeah.
And Takeshita. And, like, holy fuck. Like, maybe not. But, like...
If Punk would have came out of the crowd like that and fucking dropped Omega and taken that thing off.
I expect... Because, like, it's Vegas.
That's what I thought,
that's
too.
His thing. So
when I saw the guy run in, I'm looking at the hair. I'm like, is that fucking CM Punk? Because that's all I thought. Because I'm like, that's... But that right there that's the money feud.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, there's no other way. That's just the money feud. That's what they need to do because that's what's going to make them cash in.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. I thought the last two matches were clearly leaps and bounds above anything else in this card. They were so fucking good, and they were two completely different things. That four-way was such a masterpiece of a match, of like an actual wrestling match, and that main event was just
fucking bonkers.
Brutality, chaos. What the fuck is the... Oh, what do they call the cage match they have? The 5-on-5. I forgot the name of it.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Blood and Guts.
Oh, yeah.
Blood and Guts.
I was thinking, like, it must be a riff on World War or, like, whatever. War Games, that's what they called it.
Yeah, Blood and Guts. It's going to be Blood and Guts. What the fuck is that going to look like? That's going to be fucking nutty.
Yeah.
Completely fucking nutty.
Yeah, because like Tony commented in the scrum, like last year it was Bryan Danielson who stopped Eddie Kingston from setting the ring on fire. And he's like, this year, if that same thing had happened, Bryan would have been the one with the match. And I think that's absolutely true. And I think like
Bryan's so great. He's so
happens,
so fucking great.
You
look back. Go ahead, bud.
No matter how they end this feud, whatever happens, that's the thing. Like to have that catharsis for Bryan to be like that violent and that vicious towards Kenny Omega, that's going to be great.
I look back at his career, and everybody will argue that his best run was like 2014 with the Yes Movement when he won the belt, main event at WrestleMania. And I look at that, and I'm like, eh. And then I look at this, I'm like, it's not even close.
That was fucking awesome. That was a fucking awesome thing that happened because of the crowd, but he was not able to be himself. In AEW, he is able to be what he wants to be.
This is top guy shit.
Yeah, it is.
This guy is. He might be their top guy. He legit might be their top fucking guy because he is just so fucking good, and he's so good in the fucking ring, and he's so good on the mic, but he's not. He's so different on the mic than he ever was before, and he's so different in commentary, and he's got such a different way of looking at it, and it's like old school. But it's not. It's kind of new school at the same time, and it's completely fucking sadistic. I just look at it. I'm like, this is fucking money.
It's gold. Absolutely, it is.
Absolute fucking
love
money.
it.
It was a good show.
Yeah.
I mean, the first kind of whatever the matches were solid. There was some great moments. There was some weird moments. The women's title match was weird. Jade Cargill losing was fucking amazing. The tag team match was kind of carny.
Yeah.
But it was good at the same time.
Like, if they hadn't done the carny shit, I might have been more into it. Because the carny shit is just not for me.
The Battle Royal was fun.
Yeah.
And it was good.
I think the Battle Royal was brilliant. Like,
the way Orange Cassidy won that is just the highlight of my day. Just casually walking over, looking at him, shrugging his shoulders and kicking his hand.
Brian Alvarez had commented that he could see Orange like going under the ring ropes in the middle of the match and like crawling under the ring and then coming back out like towards the end and just like pushing somebody out or something. But this ending, 100 times better than that. Like, that would have been so Orange, but this was like...
He survives. He's so good at surviving, and he's target. He's got a target on his back, and he's doing it. They've made a star with him, and it's awesome because the first time I ever saw him when he put his hands in the pockets and jumped over the ropes on who was that? That would have been the Dark Order.
Okay.
That was like his first thing. That's the first time I saw him at a paper. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? And he just kind of stands there. I'm like, this motherfucker is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Who the fuck is he? That's all I wanted to know. I didn't know anything about him. I had to Google him afterwards. I started watching this shit. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then he starts doing shit in AEW. He's just so fantastic. And he's just kind of, for a while, he was just like a mascot.
Mm-hmm.
And then like his in-ring stuff was all comedy spots. And then he wrestled Pac. And it was like, wait a minute. This fucking guy can work really well. And then they started to have him wrestle, and it's like, who's had a better fucking year than Orange Cassidy in the ring? Like, I'm not exaggerating that. Like, it's
true. Like, we're halfway through the year, and he definitely has.
Nobody's done it like
That's
him.
right.
He's had matches with fucking everybody, and it's just like, god damn. That's why I said I could see him and MJF could have a great little feud in a match.
Mm-hmm.
You know, put him on a pay-per-view and let him go. I don't know. I don't know if Orange will ever be world champion, but like,
why?
I guess I never thought he would get a title reign like this either.
Mm-hmm.
When I thought he won the All Atlantic, I thought he'd hold it for like 3 months and defend it a couple times and then lose it to somebody they were trying to build up. But the guy they were trying to build up was him, which makes fucking perfect sense because the pops that guy gets are just off the charts.
Yeah.
But that battle royal was just, I knew he was going to win it. Like, I figured that out pretty quick because I'm like, there's nobody in here that's really that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like Swerve.
Yeah.
Swerve could have won. And had Swerve won that match, I would not have been mad.
Yeah.
I would have been like, fuck yeah. Like,
but
cool.
I think that's something you have to build to at this point. Like, if it were defense number 3 and Swerve took it from him, fine.
Yeah.
But like, we're at 23 at this point. And so like, you got to build it up a little bit. Especially, I mean, Swerve is that kind of guy. Like, he's not going to be someone who does it cleanly and just like magically wins. It's going to be set up, and he's going to mug the guy and like, that sort of thing. Like, attack them in the back.
I'll be almost surprised if he loses it next week.
Mm-hmm.
I will. I think Swerve's the guy though. I'm not opposed to it. I think Swerve.
I love Swerve. Like, he's getting
because I think
better
Swerve
every
as
week.
champion. I think Swerve as champion could be really good. I think Orange Cassidy right now is a step above Swerve.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way he's been booked and the way he's been put together and everything. But again, I think Orange Cassidy doesn't need that belt as bad as Swerve does.
And so I think Swerve is getting set up for something big, whatever it is.
Yep.
Because they have I forget what it's called.
It just boggles my mind how you have
something.
You had that TNT title that you made so important, and you give this comedy wrestler the All Atlantic Championship and the greatest shirt I've ever owned. Also, and you just let this fucker go, and he makes that belt mean more than any other belt by having these incredible matches, like incredible fucking matches week after week after week. Like, he's going to steal the show every week.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fucking awesome. So I'm excited to see where they go with him, but it's time. I think it's time. I think you're going to get to a point where if he doesn't lose it soon, you're probably pushing it too far.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Maybe
Not necessarily like Jade because he's not Jade because he's having good matches.
Mm-hmm.
If he holds the belt for another like 6 months and has great matches every week, great. But the story you're telling is kind of like he's so beat up. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea you had last week where he should just try to give it to somebody else. I don't want this. Could you have this? Here, take this.
I don't want to do this anymore. This is boring. I'm tired.
Can you take a
Go
nap?
to bed.
Do you remember back in the day when they had, oh my god, they had some fucking backstage brawl or something, or a match or whatever, and they were fighting through the whole backstage, and they opened a random bathroom door, and there's Orange Cassidy just standing there, and then the door shuts, and then they had another one where they were in there was another one where they did that where they went into like a fucking trailer or something, and they opened a door in the trailer, and he's just like laying on a bed. Just like random Orange Cassidy sighting. He's come a long way though. They've really done a good job. But he's so unique. He's so unique.
I think they can definitely do something similar with Danhausen. I think a lot of the like best friends have benefited from a similar kind of booking. Not so much Trent and Chuck, unfortunately, because I think they're both great talents, but they just haven't. I don't know. They just, whether it's the booking or whatever.
I honestly think them turning heel on Orange would be.
Yeah, but I also think like there are other ways to do it, and I think looking at it through that lens makes me feel very like that's how WWE would do it. You know what I mean? Like that they would say, well, these guys are kind of stymied by.
But sometimes the most obvious thing is the best thing to do.
That's fair.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
What I want is, do you remember like Piper's Pit or the Brother Love Show?
Okay.
I want Danhausen to have a weekly talk show segment.
Yes. I would love that. Absolutely.
Because it would just pure fucking chaos. give him 7 minutes every week just to have somebody come out and talk to him, and just let that fucker go. And Orange Cassidy could be his guest host, who just does nothing.
I still think that it should be Orange's show, but he makes Danhausen do it.
Yeah.
Like he tricks him into doing it somehow.
Welcome to the Orange Cassidy show with Danhausen.
And then he just falls asleep on the couch, so Danhausen takes it over.
I think there's a lot to do with those. The business has changed so much, though, because these comedy characters 5 years ago, 6 years ago, never would have got a push like this. But then I think back. Do you remember Santino Marella?
Yes.
There was moments where you could have made that man world champion.
Absolutely.
There was numerous moments, and had you done it, the reaction to that would have been fucking insane. Could he have held the championship for like 9 months? No, but back when you're hot potatoing the belt, there's a new champion every 4 weeks. Like, fuck, give Santino the belt. That would have been great. Because he was over. People love that guy.
He's in Impact now, and he's still fucking over. Like, the snake thing, he's still doing it. Like, and he's still over with it. Like, what the fuck? We had a conversation, I don't know if you remember this, many, many years ago, about Shane Helms, Hurricane.
Yep.
And we were like, well, could he ever hold the title? And I thought, like, back then I was like, theoretically, yes. But WWE would never do it. For the reason that we just said. Like, they do not believe in comedy characters holding the belt. They don't see them on the same level. And AEW is more like, comedy is just an aspect of your character. You can have comedy anywhere in your character and still be over and big even as a world champion.
That's an interesting caveat, though, because I think the reason that Orange Cassidy works is because, you know, most of those comedy characters have that charisma, which Orange has. His charisma is off the fucking charts. His understanding of the business is off the charts. What he has that not a lot of those other comedy wrestlers have, he can fucking work. And when I say he can work, we just said it. He's probably the best wrestler of the year right now. Like, or in the United States of America. You're going to be hard-pressed to find anybody else on his level. Like, he's that fucking good. And I think I look back at some of the comedy guys, like Vladimir Kozlov, had really good timing comedy-wise.
Yeah.
And he was kind of the straight man for Santino. Like, was he that? No.
Santino was good, though. Shane Helms was good. For their time, like, they were amazing.
Yeah.
But they, again, with the WWE system, they were not allowed to do the things that they could do.
They were good. They were good. But I think Orange Cassidy is like a next level good.
Yeah.
Orange Cassidy's having like, that fucker's having a Bret Hart year. I said that. I know I've said that before. But I just look back at Bret Hart's first WWF title reign where he defended that belt every week. It's like, it's fucking Orange Cassidy's doing what Bret Hart did, and he's doing it just as well. Not a little better. I know that's just blasphemy to say, but like,
I like me some Bret Hart, but I think you're right.
Love Bret Hart. I love Bret Hart. But it's with different opponents. It's different styles. No matches are the same. He's not winning with the same move every week. It's just he's showing like all this depth, and I think that's a huge part of it. Because you just look at him, you just go, "Holy fuck!" That's been one of the biggest surprises to me because I just love his character and I just love how like he was just amazing. He was so much fun, and then it's like it was last year at pay-per-view with New Japan, the Forbidden Door. When he had that fucking match, I was like,
oh my god, with Will Ospreay, that was.
I was like, this fucking guy's pretty fucking good. Like, had a fucking 5-star match.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, Will Ospreay's great, so it's kind of like, well, maybe it wasn't. But then after that, Khan put him on TV a couple times to have these matches with people, and you're like, yeah, no, that fucker's just really fucking good.
Yes.
Yeah. That is one of my worries about Danhausen. I don't think Danhausen's the level of in-ring worker as Orange Cassidy. I think Danhausen is way more of a gimmick than Orange Cassidy, which sounds weird.
He doesn't have to. They don't have to be. In order to be taken seriously as a wrestler, they do not have to be on Orange's level.
Agreed.
I think
there's a lot you can do with Danhausen. I think Danhausen's connection with the fans, his weirdness and his charisma are different than Orange's. And I think Danhausen, if you found a way to get behind him, I think that could be pretty. I think you could go far with him too. Mm-hmm. Do I think Danhausen could be like legit world champion? That I don't know.
I don't know.
That I'd have to see. Like that one, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like Orange, a year ago I would have said no. Or now I'm sitting here like, there's no fucking reason he couldn't.
But I think like,
he also got the platform though. Danhausen needs platform.
Yeah. I think the other part of that though is that like Orange is giving us a new way to view comedy wrestlers, which is huge, and I think that will open the door for other wrestlers who have this comedy.
Wouldn't you say though he's moved past the comedy wrestler at this point?
No.
You don't think so?
I don't think he's a comedy wrestler anymore. I'll agree with that. But like I think he still has those aspects of comedy to him. Yeah. And they play it off as mind games or whatever, but like it's still funny. Like if he goes into a match with Kenny Omega for the world title and he like sticks his hands in his pockets and like lays down on the ground and takes a nap, like we're still gonna pop for that and he's still gonna have an amazing match, right?
Yep.
But yeah, I would agree that like Danhausen, at least not right now, is probably not on the same level, but I don't think he has to be. I think in some ways Orange Cassidy has sort of like forged the way for people like Danhausen to still be considered for throwing into world title contention. I think it makes sense.
And that's not true. I can't remember a time where I've been more excited about stuff in professional wrestling than I have been over like the past 2 years. With specifically guys like Cassidy and Danhausen. Because they're these characters that you like see and you're like, these guys are so fucking cool and they're so good. What they're doing is so unique. But they never get a shot. And motherfucker, they're getting a shot. Which is just like, it feels like we're advancing and we're not stuck in this. Well, you have to do things this way or this way or this way. Just kind of like Steve Austin when he broke through. The shit he was doing, nobody else was doing. You know, on the mainstream, like ECW, but that was kind of at that point, a niche audience. And now it's kind of like he broke through and did his thing, and now it's what they wanted to emulate 400 times. It doesn't work now because it's like, I think Danhausen's unique enough to make that work. I don't know. I like Danhausen. Just gets people fucking love Danhausen, but his character is so fucking amazing. Like you could watch like his podcast. It's just joy. It's pure fucking joy. But it's so good. And it's just like the way he does shit. And when he came in and started doing stuff with Orange Cassidy, I was just like, this is so fucking amazing. This is so fucking amazing.
It made perfect sense, especially because I think the two of them,
as much as it didn't, it did.
It did, yeah. The two of them, having watched stuff that they've done before AEW, like, it's just hilarious and it's gold and it's amazing. I love it.
They work really well together.
Yeah, they do. Not to brag, but I watched the Scrum. I watched the Scrum too much, so I just have to keep bringing it up.
You bet you.
I watched it once and then I watched it again to get notes because I hadn't taken notes the first time.
Orange Cassidy setting his belt down is highlighted the whole thing.
That was so hilarious.
And everything just falls and he
falls
just
off.
like,
talk to me. One line from the thing that he said that I loved was somebody asked him if he would consider going for the tag belts or the trios belts, and he's like, "Yeah, I guess if I feel like it." And then he says, I'm sure the backpack can fit multiple championships in it. I'm almost certain it can. Oh, I love it. Somebody at the end of it asked if he felt he was one of the best wrestlers in the world, and he just laughed. And he was like, not even close. But thank you. Just laughed until he walked away. This isn't what I was going to talk about, but I wrote quotes, so I'm going to put them down.
I need to watch it. I haven't watched it yet.
You should. It's pretty good. The only one that kind of like is flat is Chris's. Chris has an interview in there. It's interesting, like, to listen to how she went through recovery and stuff. But my favorite line from Toni Storm was, oh no, this one's pretty good. She said about Jamie Hayter, I guess she couldn't handle it. I guess she's not made of the right stuff. I guess she's weak. I guess Japan taught her absolutely nothing. So thank God she's not champion anymore, because she was starting to attract flies. You're welcome. And then she says, about Jade, I'll slap the tits right off her chest as well. I don't care. Feed me Jade, Tony. I watched this. Now, I like Toni Storm. And we've talked about Toni Storm, like, coming into her own at this point with the Outcasts, and watching this, and then watching her shit on Dynamite. Oh my God. I'm just like,
she's getting it.
She's fucking amazing. I love it. But the thing that I wanted to point out was that TK mentioned several times brands, like, sort of off the cuff. And then at one point he said, I'm glad that nobody asked me about how we're going to allocate talent, because I wouldn't have answered you. And then he was like, but we're going to talk about how we're allocating talent. So it seems to each of the shows. And it seems like there's going to be a hard brand split. And what the specifics of that are, obviously we have no idea. Yeah, I don't know.
I hope it's internal, and I hope they don't say it, and I hope they don't come out and say, this is this brand, that is that brand. They just kind of move people as they need. So you can be on this brand to do a thing, and then you can go to the other brand to do a thing.
I think they're going to make it explicit. Like, I think they're going to come out and say, these guys are here and those guys are here. I don't think that it's going to be as strict as WWE does. Like, I look at how ROH is treated in AEW, and, like, ROH guys come into AEW every once in a while.
You mean super strict, where they just had WWE just had the draft, and AJ Styles from SmackDown was on Raw and open
super
Raw.
Strict.
I missed that part, bud.
But I think that makes sense. Like, but you can finagle ways to get, if you really want to have a match between Punk and Omega and they're in separate brands, you can finagle a way to get them on the same card. Punk and Omega are a bad example, because I think that those two in particular would be like something huge. And so you would have to make a big exception, but, like, say Swerve and
I sit
Orange
here
Cassidy.
And I say, if you don't main event All In with some form of CM Punk against one of the elite, what are you doing? That's your match. That's your biggest match. Now, granted, they have to want to work together. I get that piece too, but, like,
I think Punk and Omega would be amazing.
I think a huge caveat to this, so that we're not talking about, is, can CM Punk even do this anymore? Because the last two times he wrestled, what happened?
He broke.
Destroyed his foot and then tore his fucking tricep.
Yeah.
So it's just like, is he... I think his days of being like an every week dude, I think it's done.
I mean,
I think you put him out there and you have him cut promos, you have him be on the show how you want, but I don't think he can wrestle week in, week out anymore. I think it proved to be, I think it was too hard for him.
My knee-jerk reaction is to point at Chris Statlander and say she came back from 2 knee injuries, but she's much younger. He's 42, 43 at this point.
Keep going. I think he's like 45. 44.
No, I think he's closer to... Bryan Danielson is, I think, 42. I think he's closer to...
I'm Wikipediaing him. Hold on.
Of course. Maybe
he was born October 26, 1978. What does that make him?
I don't know. Do you think I know
78.
math?
So he would have turned 40. He would have turned 40 in 2018.
So
he's 45.
Yeah, 45.
Yeah, he's 45.
46. Jesus Christ.
So yeah, I figured he was kind of old.
And I don't think that he does not, like, you look at Bryan Danielson, and that guy works out like he like fucking lot, and I don't think CM Punk is. And not that he's like sitting on his ass all the time. He's training, but I don't think he trains to the same level.
I think the difference is Punk's training. He trained MMA for a while, and then I think he's when after his UFC career didn't go. And you know what? People give him so much shit for that, but like, why don't you go fight in the fucking UFC and see how it is?
When he fucking did it, you know, like
twice.
Dana.
It was hard. It was really hard. And you know what? He was like a 39-year-old man fighting in the UFC for the first time. Never had a fight in his life, and he went out there and did it. And it's like he fought a guy in Mickey Gall who was like an up-and-comer, hot, like fucking really good at jiu-jitsu, had been training MMA his whole life, young, not hurt, not beat up, doesn't have years of fucking damage. And oh shit, you know what I mean? But he went out there and that fucker never. He got his ass kicked in that first fight. The second fight wasn't real good either, but he fucking did it. Like, kudos to him for that, because holy fuck.
Yeah.
People think it's so easy. Well, anybody go in the UFC. Brock Lesnar's not a good comparison because he's not really human.
No, God, he's not.
And he also fucking was like a fucking world-class wrestler. Like, he could have went to the Olympics. He was that good, but he like went to UFC, and he was also on a lot of steroids. So, but yeah, so I think Punk, that's not fair. But he did that MMA training, and then after that, I'm sure he just kind of, I'm sure his training changed. I'm sure his training was a lot more like cardio, yoga type stuff, where he wasn't training for impact.
I think he still trains with the Gracies as like a sparring partner.
Well, he still trains at Rufus Sport, I believe, in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
But that might not be true because I think he's living in California now.
Really?
Yeah, he has a house in California. That I know for a fact. So I think he's actually living in Cali. But him and his wife are doing a lot of Hollywood stuff, so living there.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I think they still have their house in Chicago, but I think he lives in... you ever see him in Chicago when you're walking around?
No.
You should find his house and just walk by constantly.
Just go around the block for like 3 or 4 hours.
I fell! I'm sure he'd love that. He'd like beat you up.
I do recall when I lived in Green Bay seeing Hornswoggle a couple of times. Who else did I see out there?
One of those things is not like the other.
No, not quite. Oh, God. I think I saw Ken Anderson once. No, because I think when I was there, he was just coming up in WWE, so he was out. Regardless. One thing he also commented on is that he wants Jushin Liger to come in for the Owen Hart tournament, which is interesting. Because like Jushin Liger was apparently a big foil for Owen Hart. He was like,
Japan,
yeah, that would be cool.
That'd be good.
I think that's like, there were a couple of, like, there was nothing really, nothing that Tony said that was...
MJF's also was gold.
Oh my
I don't
God.
want to look like I want to roll around with John Moxley's blood.
I don't want to run around in mid-blood.
I love MJF.
My favorite part was, he goes, Wheeler Yuta was in that match. I'm not going to roll around in Wheeler Yuta's blood. And Tony turns to him and he goes, I think Wheeler was the only one who didn't bleed in that match. MJF goes, really? That's embarrassing.
I love it. I fucking love it.
I love MJF, and I think
he's so good.
We do give him shit for not wrestling more, and he's talked about this ad nauseum. And I think he has his bit. Like, he gets the concept of the long build, so that's what he works on.
He also, though, he's the biggest star they have.
Yeah,
and you can't like. And I'm curious to see when Punk comes back, where he falls in that. If Punk's still gonna be a bigger star, because Punk was, but and in that time since Punk left, I don't know. I don't know anymore. I don't know if it's gonna be If it's going to be the same, or if MJF has just surpassed him.
Mm-hmm.
And you do an MJF Punk feud.
Yeah.
Or is that just that ship sailed? Like,
or maybe it's like,
because my concern with that is, if I'm Tony Khan, is in that situation you're going to want MJF to be the bad guy. And I think last time people cheered MJF over Punk, and I think this time it's going to be fucking worse. Because that reaction tonight when they announced CM Punk was not positive. It was mixed at best.
I mean, that's not how I heard it, but
there was a lot of people chanting CM Punk. There was a lot of people booing. I just don't know how much he has left anymore.
I want him to come back with Don Callis so badly, because Don Callis is such a shit heel, and
him and Punk could really play that up.
Would be just fucking
insufferable.
That is the exact word I was looking for. And then like have to put Takeshita in there. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with Takeshita, because I think he's really good. Like, he's super good. I just don't know. Like, he doesn't read to me as a heel. He still reads to me as that wholesome.
We gotta see what he does.
Goofy guy. But yeah,
we gotta see what he does.
We'll see.
Let's see what he does.
Exciting times in the AEW, and sort of exciting times in WWE, but only because they have sucked for so long. Who knows? And in my opinion, who cares?
I don't like that. I think that's the important thing. Is like, I'm really happy that AEW's here. Mm-hmm. Because I legitimately enjoy it. Mm-hmm. Even when it's not that good, even when it's like a shitty night of AEW, it's not that bad. Mm-hmm. It's like WWE on a good night is like 50% of what you saw pissed you off because it was stupid. Mm-hmm. On a bad night of WWE, it's just like, what the fuck did I just, like, WrestleMania 32, which might be the worst wrestling. I thought about that one more. I think that was worse than 9. Because 9, what the hell were you expecting? When, you know what I mean? Like, 9 was bad. Like, the whole company was bad. But, like, 32, they put all this shit in. They had all these people in this arena. 9, they were at Caesar's Palace in front of, like, 13,000 people. Mm-hmm. 32, you're in front of 100,000 people, quote unquote. And you gave them this show that was just shit. It was shit. From top to bottom, it was shit. The wrong person won every single match, and then you went to a main event that was just everyone fucking hated it. So,
yeah.
And then the following month, you had Roman Reigns fight. Was that when he fought Samoa Joe, or was that later, where he fought Samoa Joe at the pay-per-view, and they had a really shitty match where they just did a bunch of rest holds, and Vince was trying to prove a point, and then the whole crowd just left in the middle of the match?
I think you told me about this. I did not see it.
It was such a bad match. It was such a bad match. They did nothing. I mean, there was some point he was trying to prove, and I don't know what it was. And the fans were just like, fuck it. They just fucking left.
There's the other guy. There's another guy who's benefiting greatly from having those limits removed, is Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
Like, stomping around, screaming, I'm the king of television. Give me more.
Love it.
Fucking love it.
Love it. I think he's going to feud with Punk.
Yeah.
I think that's what Punk wants to do.
When Samoa Joe came over to AEW, I'm like, it's only a matter of time, because they've both talked about that, wanting to do another run with each other. And it'll be good because they're both fucking awesome.
They're awesome.
This has been the BREWDCAST. We've been talking about lots of AEW and then a little bit of ragging on WWE. I'm Bud Robinson. This is Town.
Leon's pooping.
Leon's still pooping. He just sent me a text message, actually. He's done 17.
Can we add another video screen with the shit emoji on it? Just for Leon.
It's like right down here, just a little. He's done his 17th courtesy flush, which is surprising. I would think it would be more in the 30s, but you know, he's less courteous, I guess. Anyway, good night, everybody.